Hello and welcome to the Friday Nightmares podcast. Recording from his basement in the wonderful area of Swartz Creek, Michigan, is your host, Scott Crawford. And with me today is
Heather Powell, coming to you from Waterdown, Ontario, Canada, and in a non-horror basement, just in my really boring dining room. But I have my dog with me, so that's something.
Yeah, gotta love having Mickey around.
Yeah, Micmac.
We actually have two special guests tonight. Our first time having any guests on our show. Let's bring in Nick Hunt. How are you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm doing fantastic. I'm coming from my wonderful front porch in beautiful High Point, North Carolina.
Nice. And then we also have my friend Adam Thomas. Adam, how's it going?
I mean, do you want the truth or do you want just
Oh, butter me up, baby.
It's going great. I have zero complaints. Now, I'm coming from Rochester Hills, Michigan. I'm sitting in my kitchen, which is not a horror kitchen unless you count my cooking. But I'm surrounded by a bunch of posters and autographs and everything else. So I'm relaxed, having a couple beers, just enjoying chewing the fat to break up the monotony of quarantine life.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? I say I'm glad to have you guys on board, though. This is a first for us, and we wanted to kind of do this as like a bonus episode because why the hell not? What else we got going on like during the week now?
Yeah.
But yeah, this will not be our typical regular show. We're just going to be kind of shooting the shit, just kind of having a conversation, talk about some horror stuff, and then we're going to do a horror trivia game at the end for the last half of the show. Yeah, Nick, why don't you tell everybody some of your projects and what you got going on right now?
All right. Well, as I said, I'm here based in North Carolina. I am a filmmaker and a producer. I was most recently attached to Hearts of Darkness, the making of the final Friday, where I was producing that with Adam Marcus and company. Had some family issues and a couple other projects that superseded the project, and so I had to step away from it. But a fantastic group of people, and they just finished wrapping the documentary, and so I'm sure they'll make something really special for fans. I am in the middle of prepping a creature feature that we are pitching as The Blob meets Superbad to people. And we just brought on Midian Crosby from The Haunting of Hill House and a couple different Marvel projects to do the effects with us. And we have some really cool stuff in the works for that. And then I am also working on a charity-based fan film, which I never thought I would be doing. By the way, it's not Friday the 13th, Halloween, or Nightmare on Elm Street related. And
how can
we're going to try and
fan film? How can you even call
I know. I know.
Wait, there's other types of movies?
I know. But it's going to hopefully benefit Feeding America, the charity organization, and then hopefully encourage people to donate plasma. And yeah, we have a really cool property from 1985 that we are working on with this fan film, and we reached out to the two stars from the original 85 movie, and we're just sort of throwing the dice and seeing what happens.
That's awesome. I'll say it definitely sounds like you had a lot going on.
Oh yeah, never stops.
It sounds like you have a really cool life. Like, why don't we just have the rest of the podcast you telling us what you're doing?
I know.
All right, that sounds really interesting.
Oh, I could talk forever, but you know, we got to get to that trivia game.
Well, and I think the fact that you make movies, I don't think until I started becoming a podcaster and really dissecting movies, I didn't have an appreciation, and I still truly don't, because I've never been on a set or anything like that, of the work that goes into it, like, and the hours that it takes to make a scene. Like, it's crazy. Like, for you, how many hours would you say you're out filming scenes? Like, what is that life like?
Well, for me, it's been a lot of trials and tribulations. A lot of people know me from about maybe 3 to 4 years ago, promoting my own feature film called Safe Place, which originally had Gregory Blair attached and Bill Oberst Jr. And we were misled for a substantial period of time from our financial backers, and it extended to where we were even told that we could tell the public that we were going to be shooting, and it never came into fruition. And so we've been stuck in development hell, I guess you could say, for a very substantial period of time. And it's just been basically about building more projects and keeping the focus and keeping the positivity, because in this industry there are a lot of negative people. There are a lot of shysters, and there's been a lot of people that I grew up thinking were my heroes that have revealed themselves to be less than favorable characters. But at the end of the day, I just keep soldiering on, and with the movie that we're doing right now, it's going to be really cool, and we're going to be hopefully shooting in Colorado.
Nice.
And taking advantage of those wonderful film incentives that they are offering. And it's a rough industry. It's a rough industry because you coming on out of the black like I did, where I don't have the film school training, I don't have the education behind it or the experience, but I have managed to develop a vast sort of portfolio of contacts. And I with the documentary for Jason Goes to Hell, within 3 weeks of announcing the project, I managed to get the film covered in 18 countries. And wow, for a feature-length documentary, that's really unheard of. And if you looked at me 20 years ago, I was like major fat kid syndrome, was like a giant recluse. And now I'm a social butterfly, and that's served me really well. People know that they can come to me, and that I know how to promote their projects. And, I have the benefit of having a lot of interesting people in this industry that I know and that I can call really good friends, and a lot of lesser known celebrities that are just really good people in my life.
And I don't want to make this an interview session, but I'm going to ask you one more question, because I find it really interesting what you're sharing. Is Scott and I have been trying to watch a lot more low budget independent films. So I shouldn't say low budget, like they're probably just working with the budget that they have. So in your perspective, what do you think horror fans should keep in mind when they're watching an independent film? Because sometimes we see fans are really hard on those films, because I think they have no idea how much work and time and energy goes into making those films. Do you have any advice for someone when they're viewing an independent film, like something maybe that you've made or been involved in, or someone else that to kind of really take the most out of it?
Well, sort of relax yourself and open your eyes and open your mind and open your heart to something that is completely out of the blue, because, you would be surprised the special material that comes out of the indie world. There's a lot of people that started in the indie world that have just skyrocketed. I mean, as I was mentioning Bill Oberst Jr. a moment ago, I mean, you know him from things like Deadly Revisions and Circus of the Dead, but then most people don't know that he has the side where he's been on American Horror Story, and he's been in Rob Zombie's 3 from Hell. And so he's gotten out of that indie spectrum, and he's in the mainstream in a way now, just like Alex Esso. I from Starry Eyes, I had talked to for a substantial period of time regarding casting for a film, and once she got Dr. Sleep, man, she was ungettable.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. It's you little gems come all the time out of the indie world. And I mean, I always try and tell people this: don't ever let anybody tell you that because you have never made something before that you can't now, because there are first-time filmmakers that win Oscars all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for randomly answering those questions for me. I just think it's really important that I think horror fans, actually all film fans, need to open up their minds a little bit and realize the kind of work that goes in. So that was really interesting. Thank you. learned a lot.
Absolutely. You know, it's like I said, it's a hard industry, but it has a lot of benefits. Because I mean, you know, there's people that I call really good friends that I never in a million years would have said, hey, you know, this person I consider a great friend of mine. You know, Richard Grieco from 21 Jump Street is a really good friend of mine, and I've got him several acting jobs that have just sort of he just got cast in a pretty good horror franchise because of me. And you know, those relationships I hold really dear, and I'm very protective of my contacts.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, don't blame
Well,
you.
hey, if you ever come up to Ontario and film up in Canada, because lots of people do, you look me up. I'll be a walk-on. You don't have to pay me, Nick. I'll just show up just so I can walk on a film. It's like my dream.
Let's do it. I have family in Edmonton, so.
Oh well, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Adam, let's get to you. What do you got going on?
Other than quarantine,
Yeah.
I've been drinking a lot. No, I just am about to hit the 2-year mark on my own podcast called Double Edge Double Bill, which I do with Thomas Mariani. We started podcasting together about almost 4 years ago now, and then we branched off and created our own show, and it's going strong. We just been trying to bank episodes because you never know what's going on, but every week we try to do a different topic. We were trying to be topical, you know, to sort of relate it to a movie that's coming out. But with everything that's been going on, that's almost impossible right now because everything's been halted or pushed back. So we've sort of opened it up to other listeners, other podcasters, friends to suggest topics, and we've been getting some pretty good ideas. So that and doing guest spots where I can, you know, painting and drawing and whatever I can do to sort of stay entertained.
I really enjoyed. I listened to a couple of your episodes that Scott was on, and you guys. And I really like how you do. My understanding is you do like two shitty movies and two poor movies and two good movies? Is that kind of how you look at it? Like what your preferences are, and you compare them?
Yeah, what we do is the whole idea is we come to the table to, like, I'll come with, say I got the shitty choices or poor choices or whatever that week. So I have two options, and then my co-host will have two options for good movies that relate to the topic. And then through a little like pick a number game, that's how we figure out which movies we're going to watch. So for every topic, we have one good movie, one bad movie. So for every, you got to figure every 100 episodes that we've done, there's 200 movies that we haven't talked about.
Is there any episode that you've done at this point that stands out? That you really, either the movie was super not interesting and horrible, or something that was so good, or you had a really good debate, or anything like that?
One of the best episodes we did, in my opinion, like we did Oscar winners. So we did good and bad, and the choices so happened to be Driving Miss Daisy is the bad choice, and
Sorry.
and Moonlight for the good choice. Well, I had never seen Moonlight before, and after watching it, I absolutely was like enamored with that movie. It quickly grew into like one of my top 25 movies of all time. So that was a good one. We did like a Star Trek episode. Those are good. And then anytime we, like the whole month of October, we do 4 horror themed episodes, and those always turn out fun.
So you talk about everything. You guys go to every genre.
We're doing musicals this Friday.
Can you tell us what musicals it will be, or is that a surprise?
No, that's fine. The good choice, I had the good pick this week because I am not a musical fan. So Thomas made sure I had the good choices. So we're doing Phantom of the Paradise for the good choice.
Nice.
And then for the bad choice, we're doing the Canon Films The Apple, which I've never heard of. I only know by reputation as being atrocious. So that's our choices this week. We did musicals one time before where Thomas had the good choices, and it was Cabaret for the good choice, and the bad choice was mine. It was From Justin to Kelly.
Oh my God.
Justin to Kelly, that's amazing.
Oh, what a shit show of a film. Oh boy.
My God.
You know what you should do next time? Next time you do the musicals, you should do good choice, Streets of Fire. Bad choice, Cats. Cats was Thomas's alternate choice. If I would have picked a different number than I got, we would have gotten Cats.
And I swore to him then, and I'm going to stand by it. If that ever comes up, I will quit the show.
Even with the butthole edition that's
Yep,
rumored to be out
yep.
there?
I'm out. I'm done. I'm out. Cashing out. But
First
yeah,
time I met Scott in person, he made me watch a musical as well. What
I
was
sure
that
did.
lovely film that you showed me, Scott?
Oh, that was Cannibal the Musical.
Oh, buddy. Yep.
And I'm a
I
South
know
Park
that
fan,
one.
so I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I remember when we talked about it. I remember on our episode I said, ladies will like it if they watch South Park. Now, I don't mean you watch South Park because your boyfriend's watching South Park. Like, you tersely turn on the TV and watch South Park.
Right.
That's the kind of humor that you're going to have. But that was a special musical. Very, very interesting what they did in that with their budget, but some pretty funny songs, actually.
Oh, absolutely. That's a classic.
Yep, that one and Reefer Madness the Musical are two of my all-time favorite musicals.
Oh boy.
As you can tell, I like the really ridiculous ones.
Sure.
Lest we forget Repo the Genetic Opera.
Oh, no.
That's a classic. That's a
I'll say
classic.
that one's also really good.
Not
I'm
a
also
fan
a
of
fan
Devil's Carnival. I see. I wasn't at all.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a fan of Devil's Carnival either. I was just gonna say I'm a fan of the newer Phantom of the Opera that came out like in early 2000s.
With
With
Gerard
Emmy
Butler.
Rossum.
Yeah, with Gerard Butler. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that one too.
I have a question. What would you guys say so far in 2020 is the most underrated movie and the most overrated movie? And it can be any genre. So if you want to, deviate from horror, that's fine. And obviously it's your own personal opinion. But yeah. Mo, make Scott go first.
Oh, you suck. Oh shit.
So I think I know what your underrated is. And maybe what your overrated is.
I don't even know what those are yet. Hold on, let me pull up my list now because now you have me thinking.
You want me to go then?
Yes.
I think an overrated movie was Hansel. Is it Gretel and Hansel? Gretel and
Yes.
Hansel. As much as I enjoyed the artistic parts of that movie, and I really enjoyed the dialogue between two of the female characters, I do think we need a new rating system of not PG for movies like that, because when we went to the theater, there was a bunch of young people, and when I say young people, I mean like 13, 14, 15-year-olds, and they found it boring as shit, which I can understand why they would. But I also felt like at times that movie was artistic for the sake of being artistic. And that I don't find always the best use. And one that I think is underrated that more people should watch is Mom, Mother of Monsters. I think that movie is really well done for found footage. I think that it may not get as much attention as it should because it was released to VOD. And I think some people might take a look at it and think, it's just a found footage film. But for the actors that are in it and the message that's portrayed and the fact that it keeps you guessing throughout, I think that's a movie that should really end up on more people's watch lists this year. And I don't know if it will.
Yeah, I actually agree with both of those. I would say, that my overrated would, definitely be Gretel and Hansel. Because, my opinions after I left the theater, I was not impressed by it at all and didn't get why it was getting so much hype. But yeah, my underrated one, I guess I'll have to go with what I talked about in a couple episodes ago, but After Midnight.
Yeah.
I just felt that was like a very great story, in-depth story on relationships, and had just kind of like that nice little horror element to it. But yeah, I'd say those are definitely the ones to like, or After Midnight should definitely be seen by a lot of people.
And After Midnight is the creature feature, right?
Yeah.
And because I heard that you have to, like, it's one of those, it's sort of slow burn in the beginning, and then you have to sort of wait for the oomph.
Yeah,
So
you do. Yeah.
You absolutely do.
All right.
But
That was sort of like, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like with the characters, that's pretty much what, if you can relate to any of the characters and like just the conversations that they end up having is what kind of pulled me into that movie. And then like the horror part of it came like towards the third act, and like it definitely had a big oomph at the end. But Adam, how about you? What would you say is your overrated, underrated for this year so far?
Man, hot take, but I was not crazy about Parasite. Uh,
Mm.
Oh
like,
wow.
yeah, I got to be honest. Like, don't get me wrong, I appreciate the craft of the film. I appreciate even the acting, the way it looked, and everything. It just did not connect for me. Like, I don't know if it's because it was talked up so much that maybe I went in expecting like something that's going to be the greatest thing I've ever seen, and I was let down. I'm not sure, but to me, out of the nominations for Best Picture this year, it wasn't the best one out of all the ones I saw. I mean, I got to say, honestly, I think Jojo Rabbit was the best movie of the year.
I've been wanting
I
to see
agree.
that one.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit is just fucking fantastic. It's funny. It's incredibly heartbreaking, sad, but it's fantastic. Um, as far as underrated, it's something we actually Nick and I were discussing pre-show. The Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street documentary,
Oh yeah.
starring about Mark Patton. A lot of people haven't seen it yet, and I think maybe it's got some deters because they think it's solely going to be about Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and it's not. It's about Mark Patton and what he's gone through, uh, not only because of that movie, but because of his personal life and allegations made against him and things like that. But it was an absolutely fantastic, fantastic documentary. Oh, and
Nice.
the and if I can throw another one in there,
Oh, go
the
for it.
Dark Side of the Ring Chris Benoit documentary that
Oh,
just came.
I
Oh
want to watch
man,
that.
that
Yeah, I
was
do want to
Oh,
watch that.
that was so depressing, but it was so good.
So, Adam, are
It's
you a
awesome.
wrestling fan?
yeah.
So I am
Oh,
too,
same
and
here.
Yep,
oh,
all of us
nice.
are.
Okay,
Oh,
so
Well, I
excellent.
used to wrestle
yeah.
for Florida Championship Wrestling,
Oh,
when
no
it used to
kidding.
be WWE's developmental territory.
Oh, really?
Oh my
That's
God,
awesome.
Nick, I'm gonna stalk you. You need to stop telling me shit. Like this is not gonna go well for you once these borders open. Um, but I WWE disowned Chris Benoit when that
Mm-hmm.
shit happened. They removed
Mm-hmm.
him from DVDs. I was watching Monday Night Wars last weekend, and
Yeah.
he's still in that one because I have an old copy of it. Um, but I'm so glad that this. I haven't seen it yet, and I have every intention of watching it. So I'm really glad to hear good things because there's such a mixed vision of him now, and
Well,
I sorry, go ahead.
you're absolutely right. And the thing is, this doesn't try to really paint him necessarily in a good light or even as a tragic figure. They give you the stats and the facts, and it's kind of up to you to make the decision. Like, was it
Exactly.
because of CTE? Was it because of drugs or steroids or booze? Or did he literally just snap one day? Like you don't know. And I mean, you got two guys like just perfect example. You got on one side Jericho, who's like, if you came here to hear me talk bad about him and stuff, then you might as well stop watching because I'm not going to do it. But then you got guys like Dean Malenko, who was like, the only thing I say about him, he was a good wrestler, but what he did is reprehensible, and I don't want to talk about him. So
Right.
I mean, it's you got both sides of the coin, and it's really well done the way they do it. Like
And I
it's
mean, Jim Ross said it best. And I mean, it's one of those. Whenever you hear about Benoit going into the Hall of Fame, it's one of those things to where Jim Ross really said it best. He said that if he was ever inducted into the Hall of Fame, it would immediately bring the image of David and Nancy
yes,
up to people, and that nobody would be able to look past that. And it's true. It's unfortunately true. I think that it's a very tricky thing, and I put a post about this out not too long ago, earlier this week on Facebook, and it was, what do you do if somebody that you have loved forever has revealed themselves as a reprehensible person? Like, do you continue to watch things? Like, I'll be the first to admit, earlier today on IFC, they had that 70s show, but it is, for me, very difficult to watch it knowing the allegations against
Danny
Danny
Masterson.
Masters,
Yeah.
which I heard happened on the set of that 70s show in part.
wow.
Not to mention, I mean, it's like the Naked Gun movies are some of my favorite movies ever. But do I stop watching because of OJ? Because there was a very big debate when they did the Super Bowl this year, where they had OJ included in the sort of video package that they had. And, you know, do you stop watching Cosby Show reruns? Do you strike American Beauty from your viewing record? I mean, it's a very weird thing of, do you still appreciate the career that this person has had, or do you throw it out of your mind?
Well, I think
it's such a weird thing.
Well, that's a topic that we've actually come across a lot on my show, and it's a lot online. Like, when do you separate art from the artist?
Yeah.
And I do understand the concept, but I think anytime pedophilia, rape, or child murder is involved, then that's a pretty clear separation for me. Like, I'm not going to watch, you know, Woody Allen films, Roman Polanski films, Victor Salva films. And, you know, Roman Polanski's made some of the greatest movies ever made. But I can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't endorse that behavior, even if he's only getting a 10-cent royalty check. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to contribute.
I agree.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it's a very interesting topic, and I think it's a really passionate topic, because as valid as your points are, and I definitely am siding on your side there, I think there's someone else that could contradict and be like, but what of all the other people that are involved in those projects then? So we're punishing everyone that was involved for one person. Well, yeah, we are. Because
unfortunately, right? No, and
right?
Right, unfortunately, but you know, the shame of the matter is, it's, you know, Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby, it's Victor Salva's Jeepers Creepers, it's Woody Allen's Annie Hall. I mean, their names are intrinsically attached to the project.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for the other people who maybe are unfortunately getting shortchanged because of the actions of those people, but unfortunately, that's the way it's got to be. I personally think. I mean, I get where some people say no. You can still watch it and appreciate it for what it is and everything like that. And they have that switch they can shut off. I just personally don't have that.
You make a valid point, and sometimes all we can do as a consumer is make our voice known with what we choose to watch and purchase, right? And that's our way of siding on things. But it's a very interesting topic, and it happens everywhere. I think when it happens like in media, though, especially when it happens to someone famous, we're more drawn to it. Like Chris Benoit's story. Even people that don't watch wrestling will know who Chris Benoit is most of the time, right?
Exactly.
They have some kind of concept of what happened, right? So it's interesting. I'm glad that you've seen the documentary. Both of you have, and you recommend it, because I do plan on watching it. So
yep, same here. And
it's really weird because you know how I was mentioning negative interactions with people in this industry. You know, it's a terrible thing when you have somebody that you've known to be a hero in your eyes, or known to sort of be put on this pedestal, and then for them to be brought down. There was a situation with one of my projects where I'm not going to say the person right now, but there was a very prominent person in the horror community who went on a podcast with us for a feature that I was doing, and he came on the podcast drunk and proceeded to. Let's see. He went on a 60-minute racial political tirade, in which he finished the podcast repeatedly in graphic detail, threatening to kill himself, offering to perform fellatio on all of the male cast members of the film, and just went absolutely batshit insane. And I am not kidding you, 30 seconds from sending that podcast to TMZ and ruining this person's life. But I decided to take the higher road, and I decided to just sort of let bygones be bygones, that this person would reveal themselves to be a shipwreck eventually somewhere in life, and that they would get the karma, you know? But it's a terrible thing.
Well, that's an awkward situation for everyone else to be in too, and having to listen to that, and
Yeah.
you know, and someone can, but it's not. I'm sure you experience this more, Nick, and the people that you meet. I think sometimes, obviously, power and money can make people feel invincible, and
Oh
they
yeah.
feel they can do whatever they want and say whatever they want, and that you're just going to put up with it, or everyone's going to just have to put up with it. So that's a really interesting. It's a really interesting conversation, and I think we're all basically on the same side of how we feel, but it's just an
Yes.
interesting conversation that's had, right? Like that people are constantly struggling with. So
Yeah, and I had to I had to completely remove the person from my mind, and people were like, "Well, why didn't you fight it?" Or they would go on the opposite spectrum of, "Oh, well, this person is just being that person." I'm like, "Look, there's a difference between having a character or an image that you project, but this is completely separate from that." And then
Having a personality quirk is one thing completely different than someone being self-destructive and sociopathic. I don't.
Oh, absolutely.
exactly. And I looked at the
I
person's fan base behind them, and I was like, okay, is it really going to help me? Is it really going to help my image and my life and my faith and my fan base if I attack this person? And everybody, when somebody's put on blast, is going to take a side. And this person just has a lot of people behind them, and it's just one of those, you can't fight it. And so I've had to sort of just let it die. And in personal conversations, I have a very big list of different celebrities, actors, writers that to stay away from. And I mean, that's a show in it of itself.
Yeah, and actually, because we got completely off topic, but yeah, Nick, what was your overrated and underrated for this year?
Oh yeah, overrated and underrated. Okay, so I'm going to start with my overrated because I have a tie for underrated. So with my overrated, I'm going to go a little bit outside of the horror box and go with it was what I thought was going to be a comedy. It is a 2020 film called Downhill, starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Will Ferrell.
Oh.
Now,
I'm with you on that one.
Now, the reason that I'm going to say that it was extremely overrated is that I went into it from the trailers. There's certain times when you have a trailer, and when it's marketed, it will market the film as a completely different genre than the movie actually is. This is a big problem with Adam Sandler movies. I know that there was a movie, it was like The Cobbler or something that he did on Netflix, and it was genuinely promoted as a comedy. And it was one of the saddest, most depressing pieces of film I've ever watched. And then, I'm watching Downhill, and I am waiting and craving from these two comedic powerhouses for something hilarious to happen. And it just never does. And I'm trying to follow this movie as if, well, maybe I'll just wait for it. Maybe the ump's coming, and it just never does. Like an hour into it, and I just finally I couldn't do it anymore. It was just there was no point to the film that I could see. But my underrated is actually going to be tied. And it's tied because one of the films could be sort of seen as a 2019 film, but I would also say it's 2020 because it was just given a big release, and that is the vampire movie from Joe Begos known as Bliss.
Oh, I love Bliss.
Bliss is probably one of my favorite vampire movies of all time, right up there with Fright Night. And I loved it. I love the story. I love the actors, the lead actress in it. I can't think of her name, but just absolutely phenomenal. The score, the way that the story was constructed, the pacing of the film, just awesome. And that's why it's on my underrated. And then the second underrated is one that I actually just watched last night, and that is called Come to Daddy from Elijah Wood and
nice.
Aunt Timpson. Come to Daddy is very much how like you're describing After Midnight. It is very much a film that if you give it the appreciation of sitting and watching it for a little while, then if you allow that slow burn to sink in, then you will be pleasantly rewarded with something completely out of the box. And Elijah Wood continues to show that he belongs in horror. And I very much hope that because he's trying to get him and his I can't think of what his production company is.
Spectre Vision.
Yes, but Spectre Vision is trying. They just submitted a pitch to the Wes Craven camp for a Nightmare on Elm Street. Something Nightmare on Elm. And I would be very interested to see what comes of that, because it's like Jordan Peele. Elijah Wood is definitely in his wheelhouse right now.
Two things, Come to Daddy's on my list of want to watch for sure. Like I own it, I have digitally, but I haven't watched it yet, so that's exciting to hear.
Yeah,
But
I recommend
it. It's a very small
really
cast, but it's highlighted by Elijah Wood, and I keep wanting to say Steve Railsback, but it's not Steve Railsback.
Yeah, it's fucking Pontypool. It's what's his name?
You read my mind. I was just going to say Pontypool, the radio DJ.
Quick question then for all of you, because you know what? Fuck it.
All right.
Recasting Freddy Krueger. Who we calling?
Ooh, this is a great one that I got asked not too long ago.
It's gonna happen
first.
Well,
Not
Nick,
Robert Englund.
Yeah.
Not unless it's another gold episode.
I'm gonna screw up his name. I always do. Jackie Earl Haley.
No, that's it. Yeah,
that's it, right? I did not have a problem with him as Freddy Krueger. I had a problem with the script. I thought he was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I think that no matter who they cast, there are too many Freddy diehards, and well, Friday Nightmares. I'm sure you guys can put together where that name came from.
Sure.
And I was the Nightmare side, so I am a very, very, very big. Like I like all the movies. I even like Dream Child. And
I love Dream Child.
Thank you.
Freddy's dead.
Thank you, Adam.
Freddy's dead. I don't know.
Yeah, like
Freddy's dead.
I not the best, but I still would watch it, and I've watched them many a times. And I just feel as though no matter who they put in there, and there's a dude that's floating around on the independent circuit. I think he's independent. I don't know. He's put a couple of promo videos out on Facebook, and maybe it's more than one dude. I think he'd be great, but I feel bad for whoever dons the glove, because I really don't think horror fans are open-minded enough to accept a new person in that role, in my honest opinion.
Well, I agree with you in a way, but I feel that their best route to take now would be maybe someone who was sort of a bigger star, who's not that big anymore, but has maybe either been in the genre or dabbled in the genre. Like I've always said, I could see Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Because he's creepy enough looking. Like you get it. Like, yeah, he's probably into diddling. Like,
he's creepy enough. Yeah.
He's creepy.
And see, I love Bacon because I have heard nothing of him being a douchebag, and I like that.
Me neither at all.
Does anybody remember The Following on Fox?
Yes.
Oh man, what an underrated show.
Yeah. Everybody for a while was throwing around Billy Bob Thornton as well. And I'm like, maybe as actual burned Freddy, but if they're going to show him as, Freddy Krueger, I just don't know that Freddy Krueger would have a fucking soul patch. I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
Need me some of my French fried potatoes. Mm-hmm.
So what about you, Scott?
I'm actually going to go with one. He's kind of becoming an icon unto himself right now, but I would like to see David Howard Thornton take the role.
Interesting.
I did not see that coming.
No.
I'll say just like I don't know. I think with the way that he had, like his mannerisms and just like his body language, I think kind of fits like the Freddy Krueger character. Now the
Do you know
voice
what's
and
funny?
everything.
I could see him doing a young Freddy, like if they did a prequel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
I was because he just kind of has that look to him that I could see him playing like Freddy Krueger before he became Freddy, and then I could see him in the makeup pulling it off too.
Have you
I
ever
just
seen the Joker fan film that he did?
I did. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just he's like John Kasser.
Yeah, he is.
He he's very multifaceted.
Yeah, and I could totally see him playing like being a new Freddy Krueger for like the new generation. I could totally see that.
You know, I'm going to throw another name out there, and it's kind of weird. But what about like Kiefer?
Hmm.
I don't know if he can put down the bottle long enough.
I don't know that would help or hinder the performance, to be honest.
No, I mean it matters if you want Steve Buscemi hobo version of Big Daddy to be your Freddy Krueger, or
Maybe. That's an interesting take.
Oh man.
It would be pretty damn funny.
Yeah. Heather, did you say your pick?
I don't really have a particular person. Sorry, my cell phone's going off. Let me just silence that. To be honest with you, I think I'm just so not looking forward to it because of the horror community. I'll be honest with you. It's already bad enough with Candyman being done by Jordan Peele and how that's going to get nothing will be as good as the original. I just feel like no matter how good a Nightmare on Elm Street movie is, a new one, adaptation, a prequel, people are going to shit on it. And I think that has put a nice big rain cloud over my head. So I don't want to get attached to thinking anybody can do it because I feel bad for them. But I think out of the ones you've suggested, I think Kevin Bacon would be great. And as I said, I saw some guy on a independent circuit. Like I don't know if he's independent or who he is, but he's been putting promo videos out of himself. There was like a little series that he did on YouTube. I thought he was pretty good, but we'll see, right? Like I just hope that the writing is there and that fans are open-minded enough to move on past Robert Englund.
Yeah.
For it to be successful.
No, I agree. Do you guys ever think the Hellraiser remake will actually happen?
No, because Clive Barker is like Spielberg. He does not want any of his original material re-adapted.
Unless he's got his hands on it. Well, I mean, they just did it with
Right.
Candyman, though.
Right. And I was actually, that's what I had a thought in my head and I completely forgot it, but it was about Candyman. And Heather, you make a great point, but I am very inclined to believe from the way that the trailer was shot or was edited, I feel like Tony Todd is Candyman in this.
I think it's a possession movie, dude.
I think because if you notice, they never show Candyman in that trailer. And
there's
I feel like
there's one scene when he's looking in the cop car mirror. It's clearly Tony Todd's reflection looking back at him.
Okay.
I'm just saying, that's what I saw. I think it's going to be a possession movie where Tony Todd's Candyman possesses this new guy and he becomes Candyman. I don't know that I want a Candyman remake. I think the first Candyman, as I think we've talked about, didn't we, Scott, on my show?
Yes.
That Candyman is basically the epitome of 90s horror perfection. I think it'd be hard pressed to find a better horror film that came out of the 90s than Candyman. Like, honestly. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know that it's necessary. The one that I think could do well, especially in TV form, like it was batted around for a while, is Nightbreed. I think that could be really fun.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I think if it was done on like Netflix or something like that, it could really be given the practical effects
and violence and gore.
Yeah,
I agree.
But so my Freddy choice is actually a very out of the box choice. Does anybody know who Pablo Schreiber is?
Yeah, the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Pablo Schreiber.
It's Pedro Pascal. My fault.
He was porn stash in Orange Is the New Black. He was in Weeds.
Yeah, he's the oh fuck, what's his name? The leprechaun in American Gods. I can't think of the character name. But yeah, I know who he is. He's Liev Schreiber's half brother. Yeah, he's Matt Sweeney in American Gods. Yeah, I know him from Den of Thieves and
he's lengthy. He did an arc in Law and Order Special Victims Unit in which he abducts and sexually assaults Mariska Hargitay. And it goes over like 3 or 4 episodes. And man, you have not, I mean,
you might be onto something there because you got Miles with him too. Like you got time. He's still a younger guy. You could build a franchise around him.
Exactly. Think of and look at stuff like Orange Is the New Black and look at the evil smile that he has. And
you've turned to me.
Okay.
I'm going with that one. I like that. That's a really interesting choice. Sort of off the wall, but it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. He's an up-and-coming actor. He's proven he's got the chops, and he's younger. So, yeah, you can build a franchise around him.
Yeah, that is a very good choice, actually. Because I'm looking him up right now because I've never actually seen Orange Is the New Black or any of the shows that he's on. And, yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah, he's a good actor, too. He's really good. He can play intimidating. Like, whoa. Have you seen Den of Thieves, Nick?
What's that?
Den of Thieves. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a shitty action movie, but it's mindless entertainment. But he's incredibly intimidating in that movie.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think they're going to benefit from an unknown.
Yeah, the less known the person is playing Freddy, the better, because you won't be able to separate the actor from the character, like if they're too popular. We're about getting close to halfway through the year. Well, quarter of the year. But I'm kind of curious, where do you guys see like the horror genre going for the rest of 2020? Especially with everything that's happened with the COVID-19 and all that.
I don't know that that's going to be as much of a factor as because horror has survived everything, the horror genre. I mean, it's literally survived absolutely everything that's happened, and it's still the top draw as far as money next to like the MCU now. I think because after the success of like, Parasite, which I'd argue is not really a horror film, but it gets looped in as a genre film. But after the success of Parasite, Midsummer, Lighthouse, things like that, we're going to see a lot more sort of character pieces, really just focused more stories and cerebral horror. Like even like Color Out of Space was very cerebral, and it was a pretty decent sized hit. Like the A24 and Blumhouse sort of idea is working, and it's working really well. They're making money. They're being very critically well received. I think that's where we're going for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. And I mean, Color Out of Space was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. It was I equate violence and gore with beauty. I'm somebody that can look at something like the original Suspiria and look at the blood's gorgeous, and just exactly. I see the beauty in the violence and things like Color Out of Space. Yes, obviously a lot of it was equated to post with the visuals and such. But man, the production design and just the creature design, oh wow, like that was some shit.
Yeah, that was like watching pretty much a drug trip unfold on screen. It was insane and mesmerizing at the same time.
It reminded me of there's a Turkish movie that came out a few years ago, if you guys have ever seen, called Baskin.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, sort of up there with Baskin. A lot of really trippy, like it was like Hellraiser on acid.
Like that is like the best description for it too.
Because, like, you know, somebody had told me, they were like, man, if Clive Barker ever got to make his version of Hellraiser, like from the Hellbound Heart, man, like it's a substantially more messed up movie than you see. And, you know, that's like at one point we were gonna I had actually um, since it's been a few years, I've started talking about it a lot more. But at one point, I was going after the rights for I Know What You Did Last Summer, but I was going after the rights of the book, because if anybody's ever actually read the book, they know that it's completely separate from what you got in the movie. That there was no man with a hook. That a lot of that was very on the spot improvised. And I had pictured it more as a suspense that was like a New England ghost tale in a way, in the way it was shot. And I was going to throw out the idea of using Disney actors and using, you know, actual serious theatrically trained actors, and create something really, really spooky. And that's why art house horror is so growing now, is that the visualized idea of horror is mainstream now. It's more mainstream than it's ever been, with Oscar, with, you know, with horror being at the Oscars. And yeah, I mean, that's why it's going to succeed in that spectrum.
Like, you just blew my mind. You just blew my mind when you said that. I don't know. I Know What You Did Last Summer was a book. Who was the author of that novel or the book?
It was Lois Duncan.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, it was, believe it or not, I Know What You Did Last Summer was, so the group of kids actually kill a child. They run over a child on his bicycle. And it turns out that it's the little brother of this older guy. And the Julie character and the Helen characters both are simultaneously dating new men. They, after the event, haven't talked to each other in several years. And then it just so happens that it is the same person. It's the older brother that is dating both of them across from each other. And so the idea of it is to require an actor that is versatile enough to play two completely separate roles in the same movie. But and then of course it ends with the final battle with Ray, but there's no man with a hook. That was all done with the idea of the urban legend of the man with the hook, and sort of combining that. And I always thought it was a very big disservice to Lois Duncan and her family that the direct adaptation of what she wanted for young adults that was never put on the screen. And so I had gotten as far as I was talking with the family, because Lois Duncan had tragically passed away a few years ago. And I spoke with her husband, and they really loved the idea. But it had turned out that Mike Flanagan, from Dr. Sleep and Haunting of Hill House, had optioned for the rights to remake the 98 movie. But here's where it got tricky. It's that I didn't want to remake that movie. I wanted to do a direct adaptation of the book. But because the book had already been credited as the 98 film being an adaptation of it, they would have considered it a remake anyway. And so they put a halt to it. And the shitty part is that Flanagan has absolutely no intention of making that movie. He simply purchased the property and is just sitting on it. And it just bugs me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I can see why.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heather, how about you? Where do you see horror going for the rest of this year?
I think that horror will continue to gather new fans and have a face at the table of popular films. And I think we have I always say their names wrong. Ari Aster, Jordan Peele's to thank for that. I think when we look at movies like Midsommar, Heredity, and while I'm a big Jordan Peele junkie, so I love Us and Get Out, I think we're seeing a push into horror's always been political, always. But I think now it's being more in your face political. And more, I mean, not in your face isn't the right word. I think more people are seeing it. Like more people are talking to me that don't really watch horror about Get Out or Us or Midsommar. And that's really nice to see. I think when we went through the 90s of, some of the horror movies that came out then were good, and some of them were just very, very low budget, not low budget, but low acting, maybe not the best, highest quality of stuff. And then we had the slashers, and you have that. And I think now we're getting better independent films, or maybe they're just better access because video on demand is better. And we have things like YouTube and Tubi and Shudder, and it's no longer being seen as deviant. I'll never forget when I became a horror fan and my parents were very upset and thought I was going to go and, I don't know, like slash up people because I liked Scream so much. I feel like that mentality is changing. So I see horror becoming more mainstream and also pushing more boundaries, which I'm super excited about. And I think we also have foreign films to thank for that. Like The Platform. I don't know if you gentlemen have had a chance to see The Platform on Netflix. But I think that movie really, really speaks to human nature. It reflects a lot about what's going on right now and need and hierarchy and status. And I think that we need more of that. And I hope to see more of that.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
It sucks that horror is not accepted and hasn't been as accepted as it has been. Because, I mean, hell, it took until last year for Jennifer Aniston to even acknowledge Leprechaun.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think what you see is in the horror genre, especially as far as films, there's huge ebbs and flows. When you are getting ones like, the Ari Aster ones, or Robert Eggers, or any of these guys who are putting out these great works, then they're getting noticed critically. Then everybody wants to take ownership. Like, oh yeah, I did a horror movie. Oh yeah, horror movie. Oh yeah, I was absolutely in that. And then as soon as you get the next Saw or the next torture porn movie that get a black mark on it, everybody disowns the genre again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's been happening,
I'm really, really hopeful for Spiral from the Book of Saw. And I'm going to tell you why, okay? Because, when I heard, like I'm sure like everybody, when they opened up the internet that day and saw Chris Rock is going to produce the next Saw, I knew immediately what people thought. And it's exactly what they thought when Jordan Peele said he was going to do a horror movie. It's exactly what when Robin Williams got cast in 1 Hour Photo. It's exactly what happened when comedians in horror is something that usually produces some special results. And
a lot of the comedians come from a dark place for their material.
I was going to say, comedians are intrinsically dark people. I mean, that's just...
like if you look at some of the material, like one of the funniest things in the world to me is looking at 90s family sitcoms front running by like Bob Saget, Tim Allen, Robin Williams. If you look at a lot of their stand up, it was some stuff.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Tim Allen, I mean, it's a wonder that he ever got Home Improvement, but he did. And I mean, that's why I am looking forward to, I like the idea that it's set in the world of Saw, but that it is not, a direct sequel. I'm hoping that that it can be expanded and that they can go out of the box and do some interesting things. I think this will allow for that. I like the angle that it's leading people to where it's dealing with police violence. I think that is going to make it a really interesting story, and I'm in. I'm somebody that plays Charlie Clouser's Hello Zep on rotation, just for shits and giggles. So I'm a Saw fan through and through. So
Yeah, I'm actually kind of with you. I'm looking like I'm not a big fan of the Saw franchise like in general, but I am very like as soon as I heard Chris Rock was attached, I was like my interest got piqued because I was like, all right, this is going to be something completely different than the norm,
yeah,
and I am very curious to see what happens, especially when it finally does get released because I think it ended up getting pushed back because of everything going on.
yeah, it did, and I mean it's, but we'll get it eventually. I'm sure because I know it was at least entering post, because I know somebody that was working on the production design of it and just had a fucking ball on that film, and so I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll be another one of those that gets shot straight to video on demand.
Yeah, I was saying like that's another thing I was gonna talk about too. Is I actually am kind of happy with the way that Universal ended up taking the whole uh, virus thing and just said, you know what, we'll just put our movies straight to video on demand and try to
Well,
get some money out of it that way.
Now
I
here's
get
a
what they're
question
doing,
for the panel.
but they're rental. They're only rental.
Yeah,
They're
Right.
$20 and you get them for 48 hours, which I understand. But at the same time, once this thing is over, which we're talking months and months, you're not going to make money again on these movies in the theater. I really don't see it happening. So I
And
think
that's actually what I was just going to ask was, do you think that this is going to be the end of theaters, or do you think it's going to have people find a newfound appreciation for the
yes,
experience of
yes,
theaters?
I absolutely think it's going to make people want to go to the theater more. I absolutely do not think this is the end. I think this is a pause. I think that the things, unfortunately, that were going to be that were at the theater when this all happened, unfortunately, whoever made those is going to have to take a bath on them, other than digital releases. But as far as nothing that's come out yet, there's no question to me that Black Widow, Wonder Woman 1984, even Spiral, all these things, when this is over and they come out, they're still going to make a shitload of money and revitalize the theaters. I mean, there's no question. I mean, personally, I think that. I just think that, unfortunately, this is a pause on not only theater, but everything that's happening. So, I mean, we'll adapt, and I don't see the love of going to see a movie at the theater and getting your popcorn and having the lights dimmed and the shared experience with random strangers is ever going to
Exactly.
die.
Well, and theaters are so developed now. We have D-Box, we have IMAX, we have, you can experience movies in ways that you could never experience them before, and it still very much is a social outing and an opportunity to connect and get to know people. What I feel is the power that's going to come from this right now is video on demand. Scott and I watched two movies the other day that I would honestly say I probably never would have searched out video on demand to just see what's new that didn't make it to theater runs until
Mhm.
one, I became a podcaster and I realized there was more stuff out there, and B, I'm at home. So
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna drop $6.99 on a rental. Yeah, I'm gonna drop $3.99 on a second rental or whatever. And I'm hoping that that gives the opportunity right now while people are home and Shutter's doing their free trials and all this other stuff for other films to get noticed. Because I think the Spirals of the world and other the Hunts will get people. Like something else could come out like that again, and people will go to the theater to go see it. But I want to see more people getting involved in other types of films. Like The Alpha Test, for example, is a great film. And most people won't even know about it or go see it or Come to
yeah,
Daddy. I don't think that didn't get a theater cold release in Canada. I don't know. I probably did in LA. I feel like everything goes out in LA, but that's another great movie, and that, so I just feel I'm hoping that during this time the light will be people watching video on the demand, but I don't think theaters will ever be removed. There's just too much of an experience. I agree with you 100%, Adam.
Same here.
yeah, because it is absolutely just that it's an event when you go to the theater,
Mm-hmm.
or it can be
Well,
at
as
least
long
it
as
can
you
be
don't
made
have
into.
a group of dipshits yelling and screaming. And
Well,
That's
especially for as
true.
much as you
That's
fucking
true.
pay for it, you got to save up for a goddamn 2 weeks.
Now, are you good? Do you guys have any of the subscription services? Are any of you members of those?
Like I'm like all of them, honestly.
Oh no, I mean like the ones for like AMC Pass or whatever it is, where you.
Oh, God.
That,
no.
yeah.
IMDb Pass has about as good a reputation as Bill Cosby right now.
Oh, okay, interesting. Nice. Good to know. Good to know. Because we're looking at getting something like that here in Canada, and I'm very interested in it. We have one major theater, like we have a couple of minor independent chains, but we have one chain that basically owns everything. And there's been talks about a subscription service coming here, similar to AMC Pass, or what's the other theater that has it? I don't.
Regal.
Regal or whatever it is. So I wonder. I always like to talk to people about them because it sounds really good on paper to me and sounds like a great opportunity. But I'm hearing that it maybe isn't the best for some people. So that's interesting to hear.
Well, that's Movie Pass. Movie Pass had a I think they bit off more than they could chew. Like there was a big mess with that. But then after I think that's when the subscription services came to be, is because Movie Pass came out, and then these other theater chains like AMC and Regal had to try to compete to help make some more money, and now they're around, and Movie Pass is kind of going by the wayside.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, as you know, with me, unfortunately, the closest theater that does a subscription service like that is an hour away from me, so it's not worth my time to do that. I have the Cinemark one here, but that one's $8 or $9 a month, and you get to watch one movie a month. It's that's what I'd pay for the movie anyway, so I don't see the point in getting that subscription service. And plus, I go to the matinees there anyways because it's only $4.50 to go to a matinee. So I usually
that's because it's a shady theater. You took me to the nice theater when we went.
Yes, exactly. I wasn't gonna take you. I wasn't gonna take you to Cinemark unless
I had my
it was
gun
one
with
of
me.
yeah. No, unless it was one of the special screenings that they do.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they do the special independent screenings a lot more than other theaters here. But
so I have a topic that I think would be good considering the timing. Everybody's favorite Stuart Gordon film.
Ooh,
Dagon.
Really?
Yeah, Dagon's my favorite. Reanimator is the one that brought me into the genre. In all honesty, it's not necessarily the first horror movie that I saw, but it's the first horror movie I saw that absolutely didn't terrify me. So I want to say that brought me into the genre. But I think Dagon, has some of the best underwater photography I've ever seen, and it's also to me the best Lovecraft adaptation ever, as far as getting the feel of a Lovecraft story. And it also is the inspiration for one of my favorite video games of all time, Resident Evil 4. So I mean,
nice.
it's just Dagon holds a very, very special place for me.
Yeah, and I do love Dagon.
I'm actually going to say From Beyond.
I was just about to say the same thing.
There you go. Tell me your reasons first.
My reasoning is I just love the whole, pretty much, once again, it's a H.P. Lovecraft style story because it's based off a Lovecraft story originally. And, but no, I love the whole interdimensional demons and and just the performances all around. And I love the fact that pretty much it's the same cast as Reanimator, except for Barbara Crampton ends up being the main character instead of Jeffrey Combs, and I like Jeffrey Combs kind of being the final girl in that one.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you know what? Since you said From Beyond, I'm going to go a different direction so we have more content. I'm going to go with The Dentist.
That was him, wasn't it?
Yes, very underrated effort that actually got a sequel, The Dentist 2, Brace Yourself, both of which were headlined by Corbin Burnson from I think LA Law, or he was in one of the big network law shows back in the day in the late 80s, early 90s. I can't remember, like LA Law or something like that. But and then of course he was also the dirty, nasty politician in Tales from the Hood.
Yes, he was.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Oh yeah, just I did not like the sequel as much as I liked the original.
Oh no, the sequel was awful.
I digress. But the Dentist was great, bloody, nasty, schlocky 90s slasher fun. You know, it's right up there with, you know, Mosquito and Castle Freak, and I mean all the other like nifty little 90s horror efforts that were just out of the box.
Absolutely. I enjoy. I seen The Dentist when I was like a young teen at my grandparents' house, and I just love it. But yeah, Heather.
See, the dentist. I'm sorry, the dentist I can never get into because I always saw Corbin Burnson as Rick Dorn from Major League.
Ah,
Yeah.
So I couldn't get past it. I could never get past it because I grew up such a huge fan of Major League. So it's like I just couldn't not see him as Roger Dorn, unfortunately. But I was also very young, and you know, so maybe if I gave it another shot, I could probably do it. But I don't know. And it was L.A. Law, by the way.
yeah. I mean, it's not the greatest movie, but it's just for pure silly, mindless violence. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
It feels like it should be a full moon movie.
Yeah. And I think it was put out by it was early. I think it was early Lionsgate or Artisan.
No, it was early Lion. No, you know what? I think it was Artisan. I want to say it was Artisan. I think you're right.
Yeah, because I remember that was when Artisan was really big when they came out with Urban Legend and Blair Witch and stuff like that. Because Artisan, I wonder whatever happened to Artisan. Because you know,
they became really... Spree, like movie Spree. No, that's Artisan.
Oh, okay. But it's funny you mentioned Major League because I had posted the question about has Charlie Sheen ever been in a horror movie, and I can't remember. There was one to where he's like a motorcycle guy that comes like a jock that comes back from the dead, and it has like Clint Howard in it.
Oh,
Clint Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Wraith. That's what you're talking about.
Scott Crawford pulling it out of his fucking distended asshole. There you go.
But and then they're restoring Grizzly too.
Yes.
That had Charlie Sheen and a bunch of other people in it too. But I guess the original producer is like restoring it from raw material, and they're actually going to release it. I'm
very curious about that because we actually it's kind of funny you brought up Grizzly because we're in our creature feature section of our show where we've been talking different parts of the creature features, and the first one we did was Nature Run Amok, and Heather and I both watched Grizzly for the first time for our show.
Oh wow, Armando Sante.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Oh yeah. But Heather, what about you? What's your favorite Stuart Gordon?
Well, I'm right up there with The Dentist, dude. I dug The Dentist so much. I love The Cheesy Affair. Okay, spoiler. I love The Cheesy Affair for anyone that hasn't seen it. Like his wife had so like openly in front of him.
And how he was draped in denim with his fucking.
Oh my god! And it looks like he like drank a lot of whey and worked out at the gym every day, and like, oh my god! And then when he goes to the office and his slow decline throughout the day, and how the secretary is like has no fucking clue what's going on for majority of it. I thought it was actually a really well done.
The classical music from that movie.
Oh, is that where it's from? Oh, that's funny. And I thought, it's a 90s. It reminded me a lot of the same quality of The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. And I really like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. It's cheesy as shit, but like I also enjoyed that one and The Good Son.
Well, look at the cast of that movie. I mean, you had Rebecca De Mornay that is still fucking intimidating. You had Ernie Hudson. You had a young from Lost World, Julianne Moore. You had young Julianne Moore. I mean, just a stellar cast. It's sort of like I always love the home situations gone wrong, like The Paperboy and The Stepfather.
Oh yeah, totally. Like they're just and it's that era, right? Like the early 90s and that kind of like almost like cheesy. It was like they took a soap opera, they kind of spiced it up a little bit and threw it into like a movie. And I enjoy it. And I think the whole horror, people are so afraid of going to the dentist, and this dentist just fucking snapping, for a lack of better words. And you're right, the gore is great. Some of the shit he does, particularly to his wife, is just it's pretty gruesome. Like it's the makeup that was done for that was I thought was pretty good for the 90s. Yeah, it's cheesy good 90s fun. I dig me some Dentist.
I wonder who did the effects on that. So now I want to go
I
back
think
and
that was
look.
Brian Usna.
Yeah, I was going to think Yasna, but I didn't want to immediately assume. But yeah, because that was some really good effects. Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually did a rest in peace segment for Stuart Gordon on our episode that should be released by the time everybody hears this one, because yeah, Stuart Gordon was my second all-time favorite horror movie director, right next to John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Like he's just done so much for the genre. I'll say we're about an hour and 15 minutes into our show right now. Shall we jump on into the horror trivia?
Sounds good.
Ooh, horror trivia.
Look,
I'll say,
man,
so I
whatever
just-
the fuck you want to do, all right?
What was that, Adam?
Said whatever the fuck you want to do, all right?
I like how Adam rolls.
You're running this monkey farm, not me.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't mind Adam. He's been drinking since 9 this morning. He's just trying to get through the day.
Oh, no. 9 p.m. yesterday.
Oh, 9 p.m. yesterday. I'm sorry. My bad.
So yeah, how I'm gonna do this is I'll just ask everyone the same question, and then I'll just have each one of you answer, and then I'm gonna tally up the scores. And I'll switch up who I ask first. That way, no one's just listening to one person answer and guessing it that way.
Oh, so you're not gonna make Nick and Adam go first, and I can just decide which answer I like more and just go with that?
Nope. I'm gonna put everybody on the spot, but they're all multiple choice. So I grabbed these from a couple different websites that Heather ended up giving me to like go through and pick some questions. And let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 25 questions exactly.
Oh boy! All right.
And yeah, so I'll start off with.
Is this going to count against our final grade?
Yeah.
We'll debate that at the end of the show.
Okay. Because I really need good marks in order to get into college, man. So.
All right. Well, unfortunately, Heather, I'm gonna make you sweat because if you don't win this, I gotta find a new host.
Please. Okay, Scott.
I will.
There
There will be a Royal Rumble style event in which different co-hosts will battle, and the last person remaining in the proverbial ring will be the co-host.
Yes.
Scott, I will accept dick pics or cock shots as
that's
payment
the
if I
prize.
win.
It's Scott's nudes. That's all you guys are getting.
Then I'm good to go.
Yeah. Trust me, Adam. I've taken about 20 of them just to send you tonight.
Oh, well, great. I bet it's
That
a
sounds
lot.
like a porn shop that's located in an alley in the Bronx. Scott's Shots.
I bet there's so much bush.
Wow. And on that note, let's start this show. So I'll go with Heather. I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Softball question here. What classic horror movie features a serial killer in a William Shatner mask? The Fog, Halloween, Friday the 13th, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Oh man. Halloween?
All right. Adam, and then Nick.
Same question?
Yep.
Halloween.
Did you say Adam and Nick or Adam then Nick?
Adam, then Nick.
Okay.
Halloween.
Yeah, I figure everyone will probably get this one.
I feel like I'm in the movie Scream.
Nick, you agree with Halloween?
I gotta check the popcorn.
Yeah, do you agree with Halloween, Nick?
I do agree with Halloween.
All right. So we'll move on to question number 2, and this one I will give this. A couple of these are. I'm going to start kind of softball, and they're going to kind of go up a little bit. It looks like. But let's go with you, Nick. In which
Okay.
horror movie does the protagonist write a book that contains only the line, "All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy," repeated over and over and over again? Writer's Block, The Ninth Gate, The Devil's Reign, or The Shining?
The Shinning.
Quiet, boy. Do you want to get sued?
Yeah.
Heather.
Writer's block. For sure. The Shining. Can we get wrong answers just for fun?
Absolutely.
Is that allowed?
Sure, why not?
Okay, well, I'll go with the Shining.
And then Adam, yep, I'm guessing The Shining.
Yep, The Shining.
All right, and then let's see.
Get a little harder now, Scott.
I'm trying to.
Oh, hey yo.
Wait a minute here. Wait a minute. All right.
Well, you're
Ooh.
coming up to Adam, so I just figured I'd help get the thing ready to go, you know?
And coming up to Adam, it's spelled C-U-M-M.
And it would just be coming to Adam, not coming up.
Or
Right.
Or on, yeah.
Yeah.
But Adam, how many people associated with The Exorcist died during production? 3, 6, 9, or 12?
Really?
I have no fucking idea.
Halloween and The Shining. They got to give a fucking death count.
I know, right?
I'm just gonna go with 3. I have no idea, honestly.
All right. Let's go with Nick.
Nick doesn't like your question.
I guess not.
I'm gonna go with 6.
6? Okay.
Yeah, I have no clue either. 6 it seems like a good number.
And
I'm
Nick,
gonna
you
say. Yeah, I'm here.
there? Okay.
I'm gonna say 7. Sorry, my phone cut out for some reason.
Oh, there's 3, 6, 9, or 12.
Oh. Okay.
Go 7.
I'm gonna go with 9.
9?
Yeah. 5
All
land.
right.
You're gonna give us all the answers at the end, right?
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't have to give you the answers at all for the first 2, but I was going to give the answers after each question. So,
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, this one there was 9.
What the
9. 9 people
Yep.
died? Oh, fuck.
fuck?
Ooh. Okay.
Yep. Now, this is what this trivia has given me. So if this ends up being wrong, and there's other horror movie aficionados out there that know this, don't blame me. Blame the website.
Oh my god, we're gonna get blasted on our
Oh, you're gonna
Facebook
get
page.
so much shit. You're gonna get so much shit.
Thanks a lot,
excuse
Scott.
me. Hello.
I've been listening to your episode and you were wrong. There was actually 10 because someone's dog died and that counts.
Clearly, you are not a learned man of cinema. What?
All right, Heather, up to you. What horror movie was the first movie? Oops, screen blanked. Movie to show a woman in just a bra and slip? The
Ooh.
Haunting, The Wax Museum, Bride of Frankenstein, or Psycho?
I believe it was the Wax Museum. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna go with that.
All right, Adam.
Wait, which Wax Museum?
It just says The Wax Museum.
What was it again? Psycho, Bride, Wax Museum, and what else?
Then I changed my
Haunting.
answer. I
You can
changed my
change your
answer to the Psycho.
Okay.
The Psycho?
Yeah, the Psycho.
I'm gonna go
It's a-
Haunting.
It's a new movie.
Haunting?
Yeah, I'm gonna go the Haunting.
Asylum. The Psycho.
Nick.
I'm gonna say Psycho.
All right. Sorry, Adam. It was Psycho.
Whatever. Fuck me.
Yeah,
I,
it's
You know I
the
will
game
later.
anyway.
I knew Psycho was the first one to show a toilet flush on screen or whatever. I'm like, God, did they really do that? Fucking.
Let's see, Nick. How many people? Okay, this could be an interesting one. How many people does Jason kill in the first Friday the 13th film? 9, 13, 5, or 0?
He doesn't kill anybody. It's Pamela Voorhees.
Heather.
9. I saw that movie fucking 15 times. He killed 9 people. You know, Scream. Anyway, 0.
0. 0.
All right. Yep. The answer is 0 because it wasn't Jason.
Oh, I'm gonna die. Fuck my life. My boyfriend's outside getting gutted. I gotta run through the fucking trees. It's gonna be great.
Man, this got dark.
Well, it was the question that was asked in Scream, was it not?
It was.
Who was the original killer
Yeah,
in
who was the
Friday the
original killer?
13th? Yeah.
Well, and speaking of Scream, Adam, in Scream, what is rule number 1 on Randy's list of rules for surviving a horror movie? Don't go outside alone. Don't say, I'll be right back. Don't drink or do drugs. Or don't have sex.
Don't have sex.
All right, Heather.
Well, all those rules kind of suck, but I think it's don't have sex. I'm gonna go with what Adam said.
All right, Nick.
I'm going to say, don't say I'll be right back.
All right. Well, the answer was don't have sex.
Oh.
Because I'll be right back, I think was the very last one.
It
that
was
he
the
said.
third. Yeah, because the one guy
No
was.
sex in the champagne room.
There's there's champagne in the champagne room.
I swear, if that's not on the soundtrack to Spiral from the Book of Saw, I'm gonna be really pissed.
You're gonna walk out of the theater.
I know. Exactly.
if we're back in
No.
theaters by then.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I think it is back to you now, Heather. So, what horror movie required the purchase of 500 Florida frogs and 100 giant South African toads? Creature from the Black Lagoon, Pet Cemetery, The Frogs, or Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
Motherfucking frogs. Saw that bitch.
Adam
Frogs.
and Nick.
Leonard Part 6.
Yes,
No.
Leonard Part 6.
Frog.
All right, yep, it was The Frogs. Adam, what horror movie features a serial killer wearing a mask inspired by an Edvard Munch painting? The Man in the Black Suit, Scream, Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, or Halloween?
Well, I'm not wholly. It's Scream, dude.
Nick.
Scream.
Heather.
I agree with these gentlemen. It is Scream.
It absolutely is. Yeah, these are not very hard yet, are they?
Well, except for that Exorcist one.
Yeah, what the fuck is that shit?
Side question. Does anybody know what Scream was originally titled?
Scary Movie.
Oh, yeah.
It was originally titled Scary Movie.
Yep.
Adam's getting double the nudes tonight.
Scott's gonna send me goat say pictures. All right, let's go.
You know you love it. All right, Nick. What horror movie caused some theaters to suggest patrons prone to motion sickness sit in the aisle seats? Friday the 13th Part 3 3D, Vertigo, Mimic, or The Blair Witch Project?
Those are 4 good possibles. To be honest, that's a little difficult.
Vertigo.
All right. Heather.
I pretty sure I remember this being about Blair Witch.
All right, and Adam.
I agree. I think it's a Blair Witch.
Yep, it was The Blair Witch.
Ah.
All right. Think it's back to Heather now. In Poltergeist, what grabs Robbie Freeling through his bedroom window? A clown, an Indian, a tree, a water hose.
Oh shit! Through his bedroom window. I'm gonna go with a tree.
All right. Adam.
It's a tree.
Is that tree?
Yeah, he said tree.
Yeah, it's a tree. Tree.
Oh, you cut out on my end.
It's a tree.
Then Nick, you said tree too?
Yep.
Yep, it's a tree. All right.
Who's watching what in the background? That's all I can hear on my end.
Oh, that might be me. Hold on.
That's okay. No, that's okay. I'm hearing what sounds like it could be General Patton.
No, it's Family Guy.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
You know what's hilarious is that I was talking so much about Bill Cosby, and then the episode opens up, and they open up with the fake the Cosby Show opening.
Oh, nice. All right.
Terrible.
This could be a little bit of a difficult one. Adam,
what the
how
fuck?
much? It's because I love you, baby.
Son of a bitch.
How much screen time does Freddy Krueger get in the very first Nightmare on Elm Street movie?
Oh my god.
3.5 minutes, 21 minutes,
Wait,
14 minutes, or 7 minutes?
14 minutes.
All right, Nick.
I'm gonna say 21.
And Heather.
21.
You are all wrong. 7 minutes.
7 minutes in heaven. Interesting.
Was it really only 7 minutes?
Yep.
Wow. What do you know?
And then Heather. Adam's going to be so pissed. Where does Friday the 13th take place? Camp Crystal Lake, Camp Crescent Lake, Camp Kikiwaka, or Camp Clear Lake?
Camp. What was the other one? What was the second one? Not Crystal Lake. What did you say the second one was?
Camp Crescent Lake, and then there's
Crescent
Camp
Lake.
and then
the
Camp
Target version
Kikiwawa.
of Friday the 13th. Camp Crystal Lake. That's not even a fair question.
I know, right? Adam.
Oh my god.
I'm just gonna give you the right answer because I know you're gonna say it.
Hey, I don't know what any of you are talking about. I only know it as Camp Forest Green. Okay, so
Nice.
you know, I mean, like, you know, I don't know about this Camp Crystal Lake business.
Nonsense.
We need to forget about Camp Crystal Lake. It needs to be Forest Green from here on out.
Exactly. You gotta look at Jason in that wonderful picture he took in the newspaper.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm guessing everybody went Crystal Lake on that one.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'll move on to the next question. This one will be for you, Nick. What is the name of the apartment building Guy and Rosemary move into in Rosemary's Baby?
God.
The Brodsky, the Branson, the Bramford, or the Broxworth?
What? Okay. All right. Repeat the choices again.
Oops, sorry, I want to mute. The Brodsky, the Branson, the Bramford, or the Brockworth?
Why do they all sound like sausage choices?
I totally do.
Like they all. I'm gonna go with the Brodsky because I have no idea.
Heather.
I don't fucking know. The Branson. I have no idea.
And Adam.
I'm here. No, I'm here. My audio went out. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay. It was one of them the Bradford? Was that one of those?
There is the Brodsky, the Branson, the Bramford, and the Brockworth.
I'll go with the Bramford, I guess.
All right, Adam, you got that one.
Motherfucker. I don't. Good. So you gave me goddamn math. You gave me math questions. Hey, we're talking about.
I love you.
Here's some calculus, fucker.
How many drops of blood drop?
I'm fully expecting that next.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, this is a softball question, so I think we're on to Adam now.
Oh, good.
Which room does Dick Halloran tell Danny to stay away from in The Shining? Room 119? Yep. Yeah, I just can't give that one. I say everybody gets a point there.
237.
Let's see. So, yep. Point there. There. All right. Heather. Whose skin does Kirsty wear in Hellbound Hellraiser 2? Julia's, Tiffany's, Frank's, or Larry's?
Julia's.
All right. Adam.
I think it's Julia's. Now I'm all confused. I think it's Julia's.
Nick.
Frank.
All right. It was Julia's.
Was there a Larry? I'm trying to.
There sure was.
That's like that's like oh well, Gerard. Oh well, who the fuck's Gerard? I know Larry.
Oh, all right, Nick. It's your turn again.
Right.
What was Pinhead's human name?
Oh man, is there multiple choice on this one or no?
Oh, yep. Sorry.
Oh no, I know it.
I'm like, it's not gonna need choices.
There's Elliot, Winston, Gerald, or Duncan.
Elliot.
Heather.
Elliot.
Adam.
To be 100% accurate, it's Captain Elliot Spencer. Yay.
Yep,
Starship
you all
Enterprise.
got it right. Good. I'm glad I have your smart ass on here, Adam.
You're welcome, buddy. You're welcome.
All right. This one will be Heather. What does the Native American shaman give Steve in Poltergeist 2? Power of smoke, power of stone, power of earth, or power of dreams?
Captain Planet Cheese.
I have no idea. Smoke. He gets the power of smoke.
Adam.
I think it's power of Earth, isn't it?
Nick.
The power of water.
Stone, earth, dreams.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. The power of Earth.
All right. Heather, you got the point on that one. Power of smoke.
I did.
Yeah.
I've never even seen Poltergeist.
So just wait a minute. So just some random fucking Indian guy showed up and gave him weed? Like is that what the fuck
You
is
have
Was
the
it the
power of
In
God.
from Wayne's World 2?
Here you go. This will keep away your demons and make you feel good.
Best movie ever.
Oh man, that's like Tom Chong in Color Out of Space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right. How was it? Adam, what classic
Yes.
horror movie was originally titled The Babysitter Murder?
Halloween.
Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, or Rosemary's Baby?
Halloween.
Nick.
Let's see. Halloween.
Heather.
Your mama? No. It
Oh.
Halloween. Sorry.
Damn.
I'm just teasing.
Damn. See, this is the type of crap I get. This is my co-host, everybody.
Yeah.
Dude, your mom's hot. It's okay.
Is it the Babysitters Club?
Mhm.
Yes.
Babysitter's Club.
All right, and Nick, I think this one is for you. What is the name of the camp from Sleepaway Camp? Camp Lickalata, Camp Fish Banaba, Camp Arawak, or Jerry Bory? What? Okay.
What? Okay.
I kind of want to go to Camp Lickalata.
I think you do.
No, don't do it, man. Tilo Tequila runs it now.
I think I'll take my chances.
Camp Wickawack or whatever.
Arawak.
Arawak. There you go.
All right, Heather.
Yeah, same one he said.
Adam.
Camp Arawak.
Yep, it is Camp Arawak. All right, Heather. Let's see what we got here. Haha. You are a huge fan of Scream, so this will be a test. What?
Hey, Scott. Haha. Yes.
Haha. As I point my finger in the air as well. Haha.
My diagnosis, challenging.
Oh, I need another beer. Holy crap. But
Corona.
Heather, yeah, no Coronas.
What are you talking about? Your bitch ass is drinking White Claws. Don't even pretend
Nope.
that you're drinking beer.
Actually, I'm drinking ciders tonight. I'm actually drinking Angry Orchards.
All right, all right.
But Heather, what is Randy's favorite scary movie from Scream?
Oh shit, I don't know.
Okay.
I know this without the multiple choice.
Happy birthday to me. Showgirls, April Fool's Day, or Hardcore?
Showgirls.
All right. Adam,
Showgirls.
Nick.
Girl show. Showgirls.
Girl show.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So.
Yep,
Yeah,
Showgirls.
girl show.
All right. Adam, what is the name of Leatherface's family? Sawyer, Hooper,
Sawyer.
Henkel, or Klein?
Sawyer.
Nick.
Well, okay, actually, it's been multiple. They've had both the Sawyer and Hewitt.
Oh yeah, with the remakes.
So, I mean, the canon's so screwed up. Who can really tell?
Right.
Yeah. So I'll say Hewitt or not. Or, Sawyer.
Heather.
Sorry, what were the options?
Sawyer, Hooper, Henkel, or Klein?
Sawyer.
All right. Yep, Sawyer it is.
Although I think they would have been much calmer people had they been named Klein.
Yeah, probably.
Because I don't think somebody would eat you that's named Klein. I mean, I might be wrong.
It depends on if they're fucking each other or not. I'm guessing because I'm assuming that's what they were all doing.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I don't know that your surname. I don't know that your surname matters so much if you're a cannibal inbred. I don't know. I don't know. Kevin Kline might be a fucking cannibal. We don't know.
That is true.
I don't want to speculate here, but you heard it here first, folks.
Dun dun dun.
Kevin
right.
Kline eats Phoebe Cates' face.
I believe this one is Nick's. So, or wait, no, yeah, yep. So, which of these is not a George A. Romero film? Dawn of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead, The Crazies, or Bruiser?
Return of the Living Dead.
Heather.
Return of the Living Dead.
Adam.
Return of the Living Dead.
Do you want a party? All right. I think we are on to the last question because I threw two of them out because we pretty much already answered them in other questions. So, finish the quote. Long live. Your choices are the new king, the new flesh, the new chief, the savage new times. Heather.
The Flash.
Adam.
The Flash.
And Nick.
Long live Charmin Ultra Strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the flesh.
All right. So, yes, that is the end of the questions. Because, yeah, the other ones were who was the killer in Friday the 13th? And then what was Pinhead's real name? Which we already covered both of those.
So who's getting the
Ooh,
news, Scott? Who's getting the
Yeah,
news?
who won? Who fucking
Let me
won?
see. I'm tallying it up right now.
Who's going to be refreshing their DMs?
If I lose, it's because I swear to God, I'm the only one who got the fucking math questions right off the
I
bat.
know you got the most. I get like, so where was Friday the 13th film? You're like, so in the
So the guy was wearing a William Shatner mask, and it took place on a holiday where you wear masks. What movie was it?
To be fair, that all of you guys got the same question. So,
Hey, what was the mileage on the Grip's car?
all
How
right.
many times in the entire series has Freddy Krueger said bitch?
Oh, my mind just broke. All right, the tallies are up. Heather, you got 24.
Oh wow.
Adam, you got 23,
Oh.
and Nick, you got 22. Heather, you stay my co-host and you get my nude.
Congratulations.
Can I just stay your co-host? Like the guys can get the pictures. That's
No, that was the deal.
I have
The
a
winner gets
collection.
nude.
I have a collection. It's okay.
And that was the deal, Heather. You said the winner gets the nudes, so
I think the winner is gonna be me.
you love it and you know it.
Oh, I do. It's good times. It's good times.
Oh yeah, thanks for doing this with us, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Oh man, now I want to compile a list of trivia questions and do this again.
Yeah, make them good though.
I
I will make them hard as fuck.
Yeah.
I actually got something I want to run by you guys after we done recording here. I think it could be fun.
Oh,
Nice.
sure. So yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Plugs?
And yep, I'll say Nick, go ahead and plug everything that you're doing and where people can find you.
All right. Well, you can find me on Facebook if you can find me on Facebook. I also just had a nice little role in a little indie horror movie called The Once and Future Smash with my fiance. That also stars Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD as Bill Whedon and Michael St. Michael's from The Greasy Strangler, among other people. And you can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, The Once and Future Smash. And I'm working on some cool stuff and hope to have some news for everybody soon.
Awesome. Adam.
You can find me, Double Edge Double Bill, on Facebook / Podbean, Spotify, anywhere you get podcasts. We're part of the ESO network, so you can find us also on their feed. And as far as social media presence, I don't really have much. I have my own personal Facebook page, but I'm going to extend it out on here as I did on my own show. With the trying times, if you need someone to talk to, go ahead and shoot me a message. I will talk to you. I promise that. So don't ever feel like you're going through anything alone. I will always listen and always respond, no matter the question or situation.
And he will send some sexy nudes.
I absolutely will not send sexy nudes, but you will get a lot of feet pics and awkward nipple shots.
I love it. And Heather, should we just you want me to just do the plug then?
I'll do the plug, Scott.
Okay.
You can find us on here because if you're listening to this, you're listening to Kill the Cast banner, and our other shows are there. So please listen. As well as we are on another show called It's Not Horror, okay, where Scott and I act even more inappropriately than we did tonight. With Android Vision, Venom, and Nudie. Venom, respectively, from A Billion Podcasts, but mostly most people know him from No More Room in Hell and In the Mic of Madness, and Nudie from NFW. And Scott's been getting around a lot, so maybe he can talk about his guest spots.
Oh, yeah, I've been a podcasting whore. But a lot of our guest spots have actually been together.
That is true.
But we'd recently done we joined the guys on the Horror Returns podcast, and we did the movies from 1983, Part 2, which was a lot of fun. What did we recorded? Did we record anything this weekend? My days are blurring.
We were on the
now.
Rotten Round Table.
Yes, the Rotten Round Table for the Horror Cast with Mark Nato and Tammy Turner and the Landinator. And then I was also on the March Madness episode of the Horror Returns. And you and I also have a guest spot coming up this weekend for the Bay of Blood podcast, and it's going to be all Canadian horror.
And No More Room in Hell on Sunday.
Yep, I was just about to say, and No More Room in Hell on Sunday. Thank you all for joining us, and this is just going to be a random fun bonus episode that we wanted to put out to everybody, so I hope you enjoy it, and unpleasant dreams.